Hello and welcome to another episode of the BCFC Media Podcast, airing every week on YouTube, Spotify and Apple Music. I'm Kieran, your host for this episode. With me is Elliot and Dan. We're still referring to it as the BCFC Media Podcast because a bit like the club we support, behind the scenes we are an absolute shambles. We're going to get straight into that with the announcement from this morning, and I'm going to go to Elliot first because I know that he's got some strong views on the situation. Elliot, take it away.
Well, what do you want me to say about it?
Well, let's. You messaged me and said I'm well up for this podcast tonight. Got a few things to get off my chest. Can feel a massive rant coming on. So the supporters want to hear a Watkins rant.
Well, yes, obviously, as we were just saying, nothing short of a disgrace, and I don't know. It's, you know what? Nothing surprises me anymore with this football club. You know, and as I was just saying to you earlier, I was feeling quite positive and thinking, we're going to have a good podcast tonight. We just beaten a side that's just come down from the Premier League 1-0 at their own gaff. Just won last night with, putting out some of the youth players, and some of them, showed up quite well. And then this news today, which I don't think was kind of sort of thought it was coming. I kind of, as I said to you earlier, was getting my head around the thought of the lower Tilton and the lower Cop being closed off probably for the majority of the season, let's be honest. And now the news today that the upper Tilton and the upper Cop is closed for the first two games at least, with no sort of guarantee that it's going to be open. I just think it's an absolute disgrace. With like we said as well previously, they've had 12 months at least minimum, with no supporters in the ground to get things sorted out. They've probably, as Dan said earlier, they've known probably the extent of the work that he's doing probably since Christmas, and they've just sat on it, and they've wasted their money on poor recruitment again in January, and now look at us in this situation right now. So I don't really know what to say about it. It's other than a disgrace, a massive letdown for the supporters.
Dan, you in agreement? It's difficult to disagree, obviously. I
was going to say, I don't know anyone who would disagree. But, yeah, I said earlier, it sort of makes sense now that when we went to the game last night, why all the cup was shut, because we normally have that open, don't we, for a cup game?
Well, we were saying beforehand, wasn't we, that it's usually the other way around, and we have the Cop and Tilton, and it's the other two stands that barely sell any tickets.
Yeah, and I know that they were sort of saying that the safety certificate might be this week and everything. I just don't buy that this was a shock that came Tuesday. If it is, and I'm wrong, fair play. Well, not fair play. Either way, it's a disgrace, because either A, they've lied and said it's came as a shock, or B, they're not getting on top of the people they've employed to fix it, to make sure that no shocks would happen. How can you be shocked about something when you've employed them to fix it? You should know exactly what's going on. And I know that maybe some work has been done, but don't you think, for apparently how bad it sounds, and I know that they haven't started Tilton yet, there's a lot of people that say they drive past the ground on their way to work, or if they work in the city centre or whatever. You don't see anyone. You don't see anyone there. Correct me if I'm wrong, and some people might know what's going on there. For me, to think now that they're saying that the bottom hasn't even been started, and when it does get started, it'll take about, was it 12 to 18 or 15 to 18 weeks? But they said it would, with the aim of all being done by the end of September. So I don't believe that it's went from end of September to going, well, we haven't started it yet, and there's 15 to 18 weeks. They would have known somewhere down the line, without telling us, that it wasn't going to be that case. And I know that they're finally communicating with us now, but that's still, if they're not going to tell us everything, is there much point?
I was under the impression, I don't know about you guys, but obviously, when we started hearing about this information about the stadium, I don't know, was it 3, 4 months ago, 5 months ago, I was under the impression that the work would have been finished by September. I was kind of under the impression that the stands would be shut for the first few games anyway. But I thought everything would be open for September onwards. To then hear the news that half that stand is going to be closed for the majority of the season, and now to hear that the whole stand is closed for the start of the season is crazy as far as I'm concerned. I don't know any other club that would put themselves in this sort of position. It's mental. I know at the end of the day, it's down to spending money, and they don't want to spend money. I don't know what they've done with the 50 million they pocketed off transfers in the last, 3 or 4 seasons. They've obviously just pumped it, back to China. And I know we're obviously in a lot of debt. I get that. The club has been mismanaged so badly the last, since we've come down from the Premier League. It's a joke. Kieran, take it away, mate. How do you say?
I mean, the one thing I'm thinking though is, like you've just said, they don't want to spend money. They've got all these money problems and an X, Y, and Z. But they're saying the club's been severely affected by the COVID pandemic, i.e., fans not being at the ground.
Who hasn't been? Do you know what I mean?
Fans not being at the ground is the major problem during the COVID pandemic, because you're not selling tickets, you're not selling the food and drink, which by all accounts, I'll touch on that in a bit anyway, my situation from last night. But then your one way of making money now that the situation's easing up a bit is to get the fans in, and we've gone and ballsed up the job on our 2 main stands so we can get next to no fans in anyway. So this money problem isn't going to fucking sort itself out whilst they're not getting people bums on seats, basically.
And can I just say one more thing as well? I relocated to the Gilmerick with the idea of I'll be back in my seat by the end of September. So when we bought the seats, me and my dad were like, yeah, okay, 2 games, 3 games at most, maybe 4 of the stretch. But by then we'll be in our seat. When we realised we wouldn't be, bit of a kick in the teeth, because it's not just the seat, it's the people that you sit with, that you've been sitting with for seasons and everything like that, and having the ground as full as possible. But I was like, you know what? Not the end of the world. As I said before this started, 20,000 wouldn't be the end of the world. But it's an actual disgrace. And it's got to the point where even though me and my dad's seat is there, my dad was actually talking to me earlier going, he's half tempted to cancel his season ticket, because you're not paying for the full experience there, are you? You would not. I don't believe everyone would pay if they knew that this was going to happen.
The other thing is as well is if they're expecting people who like yourself to relocate from the Tilton to the Gilmerick, I'm fairly certain, I don't know for sure, but Gilmerick season tickets are cheaper than Tilton season tickets. So what then are they going to expect? Are they going to just expect you to pay the higher price to spend the majority of the season in a cheaper seat?
No, I think the Gilmerick's more expensive, isn't it? Gilmerick more expensive?
I've no idea. I'd like to think not.
I think the Tilton's probably the cheapest season ticket you can get.
Let's have a look now. There's still some on sale.
I say cheap, but people are still spending £500.
You can't buy season tickets anymore. They've took that off as well.
Let's just see if I can find the prices.
It's only because it's going to be a complete nightmare now for them to relocate. And as we've seen, they've now got to go into a ballot to win their own season ticket back for the game.
You imagine being them people working in a ticket office now. They've been thrown under the bus big time because they have nothing to do with what's going on. But people, when emotions are high, you can understand that the emotions will be high. They will have an absolute nightmare the next few weeks until this is sorted.
It's only letting me look at prices for season tickets for the women at this point.
Yeah, it's not, but it really, it's just not good enough. Like, it really isn't. There's nothing worse for me. We've had the Dong era where you was looking at a new manager every 6 months, but the one thing that got you through it was the fact that you knew that we would all be there together. And that's going to be for the first time since, was it Gary Monk's season, where we just had a bit of positivity, not even major optimism, just a bit of positivity compared to what we used to. But it's ruined for me. We should be buzzing there. in any other circumstance, fans back after 500 days, any other team with the start that we've just made, new manager, he done great last season, 1-0 away at Sheffield United, through to second round of the cup, first home game in the league for over 500 days in front of fans. We should be that excited to get down there. Because I'm convinced, like, back at the Gary Monk season, even when we weren't that close to the playoffs, I remember midweek games, we were getting like 23,000, which is very good for us on a Tuesday night. And we would have done the same this season because we would have backed Bowyer. He's gave us no reason to doubt him. We would have been that glad to be back, and with a manager that used to play for us doing well, fresh new faces in the team. They would have made so much. They would have made the money back, but by them being like pernickety, trying to get it sorted in a least effective way, like the one probably the cheapest way they can. It's kicked. It hasn't affected them as much. It falls on us again. It falls on the fans again.
I can't believe, Dan. I can't believe, like, you know, we were taking how much we were taking off Coventry for the season. I mean, there was rumours it was about £1 million a season. Well, what are they doing with that money? That money should be going straight into regenerating the ground. You know, people were saying last night, they were going, you know, they haven't even bothered to de-weed between the stands, the seats and stuff. It stinks of mould. They haven't, you know, the catering's absolute farce. You know, I hope you didn't have cheesy chips last night.
I'd like to think, I mean, I've seen that picture going around of the cheesy chips, and I'd like to think that it's a bloke who's obviously took a slice of cheese in himself. But do you know what? After the situation I had there, I honestly wouldn't be surprised if that was genuinely what was served.
Well, didn't they stick your can of Coke in the microwave or something?
I had a nightmare. we queued for half an hour to get to the till. And I wouldn't normally do that, but I went there on the basis I thought I cannot wait to have a chicken balti pie at the football again. Got to the front. I said to the bloke, says, "What pies you got?" He looked in the thing, came back to me and said something that says cheese on the packet. I says, "Any chance I can know what the rest of the ingredients are on it then?" He went back over. He says, "It also says potato." I says, "Right, so cheese and potato then. I'll have that if that's the only one you've got." He was like, "Yep." I says, "Right, okay." I says, "I'll have it with the meal deal. Can I have a Coke?" And he says, "You can, but they're warm. They're not in the fridge." So I had to ask what was in the fridge to actually have a cold drink. And then in the end, I just said, with the snack, just get me any chocolate bar that you've actually got. I'm not even at this point going to tell you what one I want because I know I won't get what I want.
And to top it off, you forgot it was in your pocket for the first
forgot it was in my pocket. Forgot it was in my pocket, lent on it for the whole half.
You're 12 years old.
It melted. I was fuming.
It ended up warmer than the Coke he would have had.
So that was annoying. One of the blokes at one point, whilst we was queuing, took his beer back and he said, "Sorry, mate, I'm not drinking that. It'd have been fizzier if I'd pissed in it." They were serving warm cans of Strongbow. And then poor Dan, Dan got himself, big news, that was, big news. You know. And then Dan got himself some chips, they didn't come, and no salt and vinegar. Lukewarm at best as well. And this is that big revolutionary change in the catering that we had on Twitter a few weeks back.
Picked up a potato off the ground and just started eating.
I don't know what to say, lads. I mean, we've just had a really good start to the season. Like I said, you know, we've just beaten Sheffield United at Bramall Lane. You know, we're through to the second round of the League Cup for the first time since we probably won it. And we're talking about this. The club is a laughing stock. The club is a joke. And
we know this from the summer though. The club still gets away with too much. Two of the nicest kits we've had for many a year now, and they go and put the dodgy badges on it again and sell them in pro fit only for the fans. The average football fan, myself included, isn't shaped like a professional. I don't want to break it. I don't want to break it to the club. I don't want to break it to the club, but we're just football fans. We don't spend 90 minutes of every day playing football, with the exception of Dan, by the sounds of it.
Yeah.
But, you know.
I had to send the shirt back. I'm 37 and I like a couple of beers now and again. And
today included, you know. Drinking your sorrows away for not being allowed in the Stoke game.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, and even I sent it back. I thought the fit is woeful, mate. I thought it was a woman's shirt, to be honest. And the way it flares out at the bottom, it's not for me. It's a lovely shirt. And the away shirt is blinding, but the fits are just atrocious. And if they don't bring the standard fits out, they've missed a trick.
Well, I told you, didn't I, the other week? So they'd emailed me because I'd ordered the away shirt originally, and it took them about. So then, before they dispatched it, all the electrics went off because of the flood they had. So it took them a week longer to dispatch the parcel. And then it came, and I thought, I cannot wear this. But I tried it on, and I thought, I cannot be seen in public in this shirt.
You've got it on now.
I went back, and obviously got the next size up, but they only had the home shirts. The away shirts were only available in a small or an XXXL, and I thought, I'm not being seen in a tent or a sports bra. That's not happening. And I said to the woman, emailed me back and said, we are getting a standard fit in the home shirts only, and they'll only be available in 2 or 3XL. So,
brilliant.
So basically, you can have a standard fit, but you've got to be big boned. Either that, or you get yourself in shape and get yourself a game at the club, and then you can have a shirt that fits you.
I don't know what will happen first, though, me getting in shape or my season ticket go back to my right seat.
I think I'd probably get in shape before your season ticket ends back in your right seat. And I have no intention of getting in shape, so...
Then again, though, I swear they did promise the regular fit would come in September. Now, we was promised a lot in September. September is set to be a great month. It's turned into one of the worst months going.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a very disappointing month.
I thought we was going to have a bit of earth, wind and fire September. And I did how good September sounded for us. But no, it's just it's fell flat on its face, hasn't it?
I don't know what
we might as well just skip September now.
We might as well just skip this season. Let's just forget this season because, if we can only have 12,000 people on the ground this season, what's the point? I don't know. Should we talk about the game on Saturday? Should we talk about something positive?
Go on then. Let's go on about it now.
Well, go on, Kieran. Give us your views.
Sorry, today has literally just overtaken everything on my mind about the club. I thought I didn't expect anything. We said on the podcast the other night, didn't we? I thought I'm pretty sure every other fan would have snatched your hand off for a draw at the start of the game. Didn't know what to expect from either side because Sheffield United under a new manager, and obviously I've not followed their pre-season. I believe it's been quite interrupted though with COVID. Bowyer, from our side of things, Bowyer obviously hasn't shown his full hand in pre-season. Played a formation that doesn't seem we're going to go with usually. So we kind of went into the game blind, didn't we? To a certain degree. I thought we were very well structured. I think we kept our shape well for the most part. Whenever we came in, Sheffield United didn't really chuck the kitchen sink at us at any point. But whenever there was any slight spells of pressure going towards our goal, I don't think we panicked really once. I mean, the most panic me and Dan were saying last night, the most time we felt panicked was whenever the ball went directly at Sarkic. Because I don't think the abuse on Twitter that he received helped him, to be fair. But then whenever the ball went towards him, you just thought, oh, God, this isn't good. It made me feel like when we had Lee Camp in goal. But I thought overall, we were brilliant. And I've seen a couple of the Sheffield United fans trying to kind of not take that away from us, but almost basically said, I don't want to watch that football every week. Well, that's fine, but that football's just beat you 1-0, so...
Yeah, but, I saw the same comment. I'm sure we all saw the same tweet from that Sheffield United fan. And, if that's the sort of football he wants to watch, he wants to watch 65% possession at the back, passing sideways and creating next to nothing, then that's up to him. But I actually really enjoy the football we're starting to play under Bowyer. I don't know about you, but getting the balls into the box. Not at every opportunity, but when we've got an opportunity, put the ball in the box, put a cross into the box.
Ultimately, that's how you benefit from.
Of course you do.
You play to your strengths. We're not just going to play, we're going to play this way today because the Sheffield United fans want to see us knock the ball around. We're not going to do that. I've got no doubt that Jokanovic will get them playing good football and winning games in style. But just because that's what he wants to see from his side, you play to your strengths. We've got Djukovic. He's a big lump of a bloke. You're going to put the ball on his head at every given opportunity. I mean, he should have scored a header.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, I think some people I don't think they miss the point with Djukovic, but, with Djukovic, you've got to play a striker alongside him. You can't play him on his own. And that takes away something from the midfield. So you've either got to play like we did with the wing back style, or you've got to play direct. So I don't, if we had a quality striker up front that was mobile, that was, pacey, that could finish, that could do everything, then
we've just loaned him out to Shrewsbury.
Yeah, exactly. But we could play one striker. We could play a free up front and a free behind, like Sheffield United played. They've got the quality to be able to play like that. We don't have the quality up front to play like that. We play, like you said, to play to our strengths, and it won the match. And I thought we were superb. I just thought.
I think the other thing as well,
tactically was spot on.
The other thing as well is I don't think it's been appreciated enough just how good Jeremy Bella's cross was for the goal. I thought that. Yeah. I mean, it at the time it seemed like a kind of like a hopeless, like clip it in the box and see what happens. But it was so perfectly measured that I almost think that it was 100% intentional.
Don't get me wrong. I think
he's.
Yeah, but
that just goes to show what he's got in his locker, and we haven't seen that consistently enough. And hopefully this season we play to his strengths, and he will show us more of that.
Don't get me wrong. I think that was obviously worked on the training ground. If you're playing a wing back will always look for his opposing wing back, and he's lofted that in. But I think Collins made that. He's made that like he wanted that more than the defender.
He had no right to get to it from there.
No, I think Colin had a brilliant performance. I think they all had a great performance. They all had a great game. And I don't know about you, Dan. What did you think, mate?
Well, at first, I mean, I ended up going there, but on the way up, I was looking at the odds, and it was either 4 or 5 to 1. There's a reason why you're 4 or 5 to 1. You don't win a game normally at 4 or 5 to 1, do you? If you're the team that with them odds, you don't win them games normally.
I find we actually win more of those than when we're the favourites.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. We do that, but with the thing that being talking about styles, they can pass it around as much as you like. Because at the end of the day, our record signing is just under 7 million. They had Sanderberg, or however you want to say, 32 million, something like that, sat in midfield. They had 5 strikers that ended up featuring in that game, and about 4 of them were at least 20 million. Like, apart from Billy Sharp wasn't, but the rest of them, they cost a lot of money. So you're expected to play good football when you have that much money in your team. Whereas for us, I mean, everyone says it's an ugly way of football. For me, I think it's really exciting, either. Getting the ball in the box at every opportunity. That is more attacking. That is more attacking football than what Sheffield United done, knocking it round the back. We're getting the ball, okay. Our football was being solid when we had to against a better team. We're not going to go toe to toe with them. But we weren't just hoofing it and trying to defend. We was going forward whenever we could, even at 1-0 right until the end. We had the disallowed goal that, to be honest, whether you think it was soft or not, I still think Djukovic should have kept his hands down because that was going well over that defender's head. And 2, we had Scott Hogan's chance, which it should be 2-0 at least. And they are the best chances of the game. They had more chances, granted. They were the best chances of the game. So for everyone to say, I don't want to watch that football. I love having a Mark Roberts throw that's like nowhere near the box, ending up in the box, and it could be a goal. I love having the free kicks being lumped into the back and defenders, because that is attacking football. It might not be nice to watch, but it is attacking football.
Yeah,
We weren't there going to hold for a point like we would last season. We wanted to win. It's just fact that you have to hold on against teams like Sheffield United in this league.
I think the thing is, you compare it to. Go on now.
Oh, sorry, mate. I was going to say, I don't know if you fellas did you watch the Norwich game at Norwich last season? Similar sort of, obviously, opposition just come down, strong side, and the way we defended in that game compared to the game the other night, the way we sat so deep against Norwich, it was just inevitable that they were going to score. But obviously, like you said, we still had chances. That would never have happened under Karanko. We would have just sat deeper and deeper and deeper, and I think we would have conceded. I don't think we would have won the other night. So, yeah. Sorry, Kieran. Crack on, mate.
I was going to say, you compare that to literally under Bowyer at the end of last season. I don't remember us having a chance at Rotherham away until Dean scored in pretty much last minute. And that was dogged defending, and that wasn't pleasant to watch, but it got the result all the same. But you compare Rotherham away last season, and we sat back, soaked it up, and hit them with the one chance that we did have. Whereas this time away at a newly relegated Premier League side who haven't lost anyone from their squad, and we took the game to them. And people can say, "Oh, it's 5 at the back; it was defensive." Our right wing back scored the goal and was in the box and had a goal disallowed. And it was Bella who supplied the cross for the first goal, who was our other wing back. So our wing backs were involved in both of our best moments of play.
We had a left winger at left wing backs. That's not a defensive move, is it? No,
because you're watching when he got ran out by Sanderberg and the rest of them in the second half. Bella got twisted left, right, and centre. He weren't the most tactically brilliant defensively, but I think the idea was when you get up the pitch, he's one of the ones you want on the ball, and he found a way to fit him in the team. And like you say, that's not a defensive decision. That is thinking, what is my best way to cause the Sheffield United backline problems?
Yeah, and another thing as well, I do think that Bowyer said in his interviews he does want a better style of football going forward. But they're the games like that that's in the games where we probably expect a better result. That's where you need that, when our Achilles heel is normally, because we play counter-attacking a lot throughout the years, the teams that try and counter-attack us, we don't know how to break them down. They're the games that you're going to probably hope to see a different style, more creative. But you can't be going toe-to-toe against them teams, because if we go out all out attack and try and match them for football style and everything, you're probably on the end of a 3-0 defeat, aren't you?
Well, it's like you say, that one midfielder alone was worth more than our entire midfield combined. And the same with their striker, Brewster, 25 million.
It's worth more than our club.
Get a start. Didn't even get a start. I mean, we could have sold him and rebuilt the stadium 4 times over. So these players.
You look at their midfield, they had Ollie Norwood, who probably could be technically the best midfielder in the league, or the creative side, and then you've got Sanderberg, and then you've got John Fleck. I mean, I really thought we were going to get completely overrun in that midfield, and I don't know how Bowie done it, but tactically he got it spot on. He did a similar thing at Brentford, didn't he? When he put Riley McGree at left wing back, and then everyone kind of thought, "What's going on here?" And again, tactically spot on, brilliant. Got a result. And since Bowie's come in, and I hold my hands up. I didn't expect this from Lee Bowyer. I thought he was going to come in and revert to a 4-4-2 every game and just play to our strengths. But he's made subtle tactical changes here and there that have won us football games. And not only that, he's made changes. For example, at Derby away, when we were not in the game in the first half, and at half time he made the tactical changes. He made a substitution. We absolutely dominated the second half. I love that from a manager. We haven't had enough of that over the last few years. I don't want to get too carried away, but I think Lee Bow is definitely, he's up there, one of the best managers we've had in recent years, definitely.
And do you remember? And do you remember last season under Karanka as well? I'm not going to go on like I always didn't want him, because I tried to back him for as long as I could. But we used to look at the formation and starting lineup Tuesday. If we saw 5 at the back, we knew that we was losing, because we knew how exactly that would pan out. But with Bowyer, you don't really mind what formation it is there, because whatever it is, he's going to try and win that game. It's not a 5 at the back where you think, God, are we going to park the bus? It is, okay, well, we've got wing backs, but they're going to get up the pitch, and you know that we've still got 3 centre halves. It's so much. Really, I could not care what formation Bowyer plays yet until he gives us any reason to doubt him. I could not care what formation he plays, because he's done nothing to lose our trust. And one more thing that I want to say, I did say after the game that Sarkic made me nervous. That wasn't down to him in that game. Yeah, he was spilling a few things and everything, but overall, at the end of the game, he didn't actually do much wrong. It was just that I think he looked nervous. So I will give him praise for that. And I know he had a bit of a tough pre-season. But so he didn't do too much to scare me. It was just that he was spilling a few things, and I could tell he was nervous. It was more the previous games in my head. But it was great to see him get a clean sheet. Hopefully, gives him a bit more confidence back. He's kept a clean sheet against Sheffield United. Granted, he hasn't had to pull off 5 saves, but he still had to be involved. He still had to come and claim crosses, and that one, the important one where it was drilled across the box, and he got across to it. I'm just glad that he done what he needed to do, and we're due to talk about him soon. Chung, what a performance that was!
Yeah, I know. Unreal, wasn't it? He played. What did he play? Left centre midfield, didn't he? He played left centre midfield. I think a lot of Man United fans were a bit surprised that he played there. They're used to him playing on the wing, and superb player. I said it last week, didn't I, to you, Kieran? I think he's going to be a game changer for us this season. And I know it's easy to say he's come from Man United. He's just signed a contract with them. He's thought of very highly there. They clearly don't want to sell him. They want to see what he can do, in the coming years. So, I'll forever get fed up with, sides that we're competing with in the championship, not competing with, sides at the top end of the championship that are getting in these really good players on loan. Swansea last season getting Gray here, and he's just gone Crystal Palace for nearly 30 million or 25 million or whatever it is. You look at sides like Derby in the past that have picked up, Harry Wilson, Mason Mount, Fikori Tomori, is it Tomori? It's just gone AC Milan. These players that are worth over 20, 30 million pound each. And you think that's what we need. We need to be bringing in 1 or 2 players that have got real potential to make it in the world of football. And this lad's one of them. This lad, he's a real player.
I was just going to say the same thing. We've seen that many years, the last few seasons, of Harry Wilson's going to teams around us. All them Derby, Mason Mount, Conor Gallagher at Charlton. That was at Charlton, a newly promoted side, and they were getting that under Bowyer. But that's what does fill me with confidence. It seems like he's always been trusted to do well with loan players, and that is a real. Looks at the minute, that could be a real big signing for us this season. And we said last night, didn't we, Kieran? Normally, you're like, we've got him for a season, 1 game, and I'm gutted that he's going back at the end of it.
I think the amazing thing as well is the fact that, like you say, but the United fans, but he is a winger, isn't he? He's a winger speedy winger who takes on his man. He's not afraid to run at defenders, and he was played out of position, relatively out of his comfort zone in the sense of there was going to be a lot of chasing, tracking back, and putting a real defensive shift in, as well as the attacking side of things. And what he made 50% of our successful tackles by the end of the game.
He was our best defender.
Yeah, and it came off that pitch, and you just go, wow. Because sometimes as well, I think performances like that in the game can kind of go unnoticed. And I think if it wasn't for the fact that, you had like we say, the added fact that he was out of position and what have you, I don't think many people would have picked up on that. But yeah, he was absolutely outstanding. And I did say to Elliot on the recording last time round, I didn't know what to expect from him because although he's thought of highly at United, he's never really grabbed one of his loans by the scruff of the neck and really set it alight. And you just kind of go, well, you know, he's got the potential, but is he going to deliver on it? And if Sheffield United on Saturday is anything to go by, then you've got one hell of a signing, even just for the season.
Yeah. And Ryan Woods as well, I thought was another player who'd done a job. And he's just something different, what we're not used to having. A midfielder with the ability to play a proper pass across the pitch. Like I remember him doing a switch to Bella. We've had midfielders in our teams that try it. When they do a switch, it goes miles up in the air, and by the time it's landed, everyone's already on our player that's bringing it down. Whereas it's flat and it's quick. He knows how to move the ball quick. He knows how to be effective with it. So I think that's, to be honest, I mean, we haven't used any transfer fees this season, have we? They've all been frees and loans, haven't they? Ryan Woods, hopefully, but so far, I mean, I'm happy that we've got him.
Ryan Woods surprises me because I don't know if you boys read some of the comments from the Millwall fans after he left, but they weren't suggesting that he was a good player, put it that way. And I think and I thought, really, a lot of comments that he passes only sideways. This is coming from Millwall fans, by the way. No disrespect to Millwall. I think we're probably on par with Millwall now. Millwall's been better than us for the last few seasons, but quite derogatory towards a player that so far, from what we've seen, is a really good signing.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's very good at Brentford.
Yeah, one of the people I work with is a Stoke fan, and he referred to him as a crab. He said, "You getting used to side-to-side midfield passes." I mean, Sheffield United on Saturday, I've seen him attempting passes that I've never seen a Blues player try and play before. He was trying to play fancy chipped balls over the back line to get someone running onto it and through on goal.
And you think Scott Hogan was offside every time.
Yeah, but actually a measured pass, not just a hopeful, I'll just lump this over the back and see what happens. He measured it. He knew what he was doing when he played the pass. And like you say, unfortunately, Hogan spends 95% of his time offside, so it was never going to work. But you go, that's something that I've not seen in a Blues midfield for a long time.
And I think fans need to sometimes, when we see players with a bit more technical ability, we spoke about this last night as well, football fans all of a sudden get frustrated when it doesn't work every time from them. We seem to appreciate players that run around the pitch and tap the badge a lot more than people who are trying to create chances. I would much rather have a player in midfield who's willing to try a hard pass and it not work than someone who will just go, "Oh, I'm not actually good enough. Let's pass back to the goalkeeper every time." And you know what? Maybe at his other clubs he has played a lot of sideways passes, but all the best teams had a player that just kept things ticking along. As long as he's not holding on to it and losing it all the time, if he's getting it to our more creative players like Chung and Bella, is there much crime in keeping the ball?
That's the thing with Blues fans. We always appreciate a player who puts a shift in and chases the ball down and gets his foot stuck in for a challenge. Like, your Kifton Bells and before that, Bowyer, Ferguson.
I love them all. I love them all.
But like you say, we always appreciate, you said last night, the prime example, Chekendoy. Did he ever do anything at all apart from lose a pass and then chase it? But we loved him because he chased that pass. It was never a meaningful pass. It was never a pass that was going to get you through on goal or, create an opportunity. Yet as soon as a player, like you say, like a Woods, if they start playing a few of those passes and the fans get on his back because they're not coming off, it does make me laugh sometimes. But we just always have loved a player who puts an absolute shift in, and that will never change. But like you say, sometimes I think the creative players...
you can have both though, can't you? Sometimes, because Woods definitely put a shift in. He was flying into tackles, but you've got to be patient because he hasn't necessarily got the midfield around him that can play the way he wants to play. You have to be patient. If he loses the ball in the next few weeks, unless he's playing ridiculously bad, you just got to try and appreciate what he's trying to do. Because it is a big change for Blues. It's going to take time for our role players to get used to having players like that.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing as well, going back to Bowyer's ideas and tactics and stuff, is one thing I've appreciated straight away is the fact that, unlike Karanka, he has accepted the fact that Pedersen is not a left wing back.
Yeah.
You know, he's just gone. And I mean, he's right. He'd rather play Bella there than Pedersen. You know, which, like I say, you know, for all intents and purposes, Bella's, apart from being a body to throw in the way, isn't fantastic defensively. I wouldn't expect him to, you know, perfectly time a slide tackle or stick a foot in at the last second, but it just shows that he is in agreement with the fans that Pedersen is arguably better at the left side of a three. And I think that is like what Elliot was saying with them tactical tweaks that he's made.
Yeah. Now, he seems to be... There's some incidences in football where the fans all seem to think the same thing, but the manager thinks opposite. Every interview that he's done, whether we've won or lost, like even last night, his interview was spot on for me. Like, other managers could have just said, yeah, we won, you know, we played a mixed team. But he said it how it is. And for me, he says it's refreshing to have a manager that seems to see the same thing as us.
Yeah. Sorry, man. Let me get my phone. Keep running out.
I think games like last night would have led to an interview with Shrug of their shoulders in it a couple of times, wouldn't it?
Yeah, of course it would. Yeah, it was refreshing to see that interview last night. It wasn't a good performance, as you boys know. I know you went down there last night, and you know, I know there's one or two young players there that, you know, showed up quite well, but I think some of the senior players there, I don't want to mention his name again because we had a debate about it last pod. You know, it doesn't do the player any good. We all want him to come good eventually, as quickly as possible, you know. But yeah, I think that's been the situation with this club for quite a few seasons. That there's not enough hunger, you know, and desire to win, to improve, to get better as a player, you know, around the squad. I hope that's not an injustice on some of them, because I know there's some players, some great lads there, and obviously we're shaping up, looking good so far this season. You know, I know it's early days, but there needs to be that hunger behind the players that are starting to push them to want to stay in the team. And then you know, and I don't think, obviously Bowie didn't see that last night. I'm sure you boys didn't see that last night. There wasn't enough desire there to, you know, essentially put away a side 2 divisions below us. You know, it's not good enough.
I mean, I'll be honest, and I know exactly the player you're talking about when you say you don't want to mention his name again. But I genuinely said to Dan about 40 minutes last night, until there was a moment where Oakley tried to play an over-the-top ball down the line, and Lecco had made a run, and the ball never made it to him. And rather than turn around or track back or anything, he threw a strop, threw his hands in the air and just trudged down, staring at the grass, walked back up the pitch. And until that happened, I said to Dan, I didn't even realise he was on the pitch. I didn't know he was there. I completely forgot he was playing. He had that little impact on the game. And then half time he went off, didn't he? Just stormed off. He was arguing with one of the coaches on his way down the tunnel, presumably moaning about this failed pass, which, not to be funny, but he's hit enough of those himself in the past few months and past few games. The cheek of him to turn around and moan at someone else to play a pass like that or attempt to pass like that is beyond me. And then same again at full time. Full time whistle went straight down the tunnel.
For me,
no
hard.
interest.
Yeah, it's hard because he seems like a real nice person from what I say of him off the pitch, and I just would love it if he could come good, because, to be honest, yeah, I know as a fan's perspective, I shouldn't really look into this. I should purely look at, is he performing for my team that I want to do well? But I'm seeing his face and I'm seeing how down he is about it, and I'm thinking, God, I just want you to score. I just want you to get a goal or something just to make you.
I don't even think it's the goal necessarily. I know goals breed confidence, and as being an attacking player, obviously the ultimate thing for him would be to score a few goals. But I don't even think it's the goals that would make him feel better about his game at this moment in time. I think it's just the fact the fans are on his back because he doesn't seem to want to put the effort in to impact a game in any way. It doesn't need to be a goal. It could be chasing a lost cause and keeping the ball in play on the touchline and putting a meaningful cross into a box that someone can attack. It doesn't even need to come to anything, but just doing something like that will endear him to the fans again. Just chase it down, track back, put a bit of pressure on the back line when we're closing the ball down. But there's none of it. He walks around with his hands on his hips most times. I mean, I don't think he really closed the back line down at any point. Like I said, I forgot he was on the pitch. So, but it's like Colchester 2 leagues below, like Elliot said, and he made no impact on the game.
Yeah, I think it might have hurt him more as well since Bowyer's came in, because he probably saw that as a big moment for him to get going again, and like thought, well, Bowyer's the man who I was probably best for. And by the looks of it, Bowyer is persisting with him because he believes that he can get a tune out of him again. But I think it's clear to say, I mean, his confidence is. I know it don't excuse not running round, but it's clear to see his confidence is absolutely battered at the minute. And it could be one of them moves where, that a player that could still have a good career, even though we've seen nothing of him. But maybe it's just because when you have a bad season as your first season at a new club, it can tend to write you off at that club, can't it? Maybe it just won't work here now.
He wasn't signed for no reason, obviously, and he wasn't linked with other clubs for no reason. There's obviously something there, and Bowyer seen it when he was at Charlton before his injury. He was starting to not necessarily fulfil his potential at Charlton, but he was starting to be effective. He was scoring a few goals. He was taking his man on. He looked a handful, whether it be down the middle or out on the wing. And obviously Bowyer knows that from his time with him, and has obviously decided that he can get him to that, to be that player again. But for whatever reason, at the minute, the penny just hasn't dropped with him. And we said before, Elliot, on the recording, and I think me and Dan said it last night, he needs to go, whether it's out on loan, he can go with Cosgrove to Shrewsbury or somewhere like that and just play football and enjoy it and rediscover what he was as a player, so to speak, because we haven't seen it at the Blues, unfortunately. And like you say, we all want him to come good because he is this kid who had massive potential in the West Brom ranks, and and it could have been whatever he wanted to be a few years back. And that loan to Charlton was just seen as a stepping stone on his way back to potentially being a Premier League player at the time, wasn't it? So there's got to be something there, and we just need to find a way to bring it out.
Yeah, I think there's obviously something there, mate. I agree with you. I don't want to put the player down. I've seen glimpses. We've all seen glimpses of him. He's got a good touch when he wants to, concentrate, and he's got a good pace, and he's got. I just think a lot of people said it last night. He's not got his awareness is not of the level it needs to be at the moment, and like Dan, like you said, he needs to drop down, start enjoying playing football again. There's too much on his shoulders at Blues. He's obviously taken a lot of the criticism to heart. He seems to be that sort of character. I think he needs to grow some thicker skin, really, and he needs to brush it off, and he needs to start again. And that doesn't necessarily mean leaving the club permanently. I mean, go out on loan, go and get some goals, go and get some games as well, and come back more confident. Like you say, he just needs confidence. He's obviously clearly a confidence player. Fortunately, we've got two players that rely on confidence up front in Hogan and Lepo. And when they haven't got it, they haven't got it. So yeah.
And the longer it goes on, it's worse, isn't it?
Yeah, Lepo seems to be an extreme situation as well with him, because you can quite clearly see his demeanour's not right at all. That's not right what you're seeing last night. Going straight down the tunnel, head down after winning 1-0. We should be congratulating the goal scorer. 18 years old, first professional, goal. He should be in and around the youngsters. he's older than them. He should be helping them. It seems like he's sulking. Seems like he's not happy with the situation. And he should be happy with the situation. Bowier's afforded him a lot of opportunities so far, and a lot of confidence in him. He's played a lot of football, probably more football than he would have got at another club at this level for the performances and that he's put in. So he's got to go down another level. He's got to go. He did quite well at Charlton in League One, didn't he? I think he scored a few goals for Charlton. Was it in League One?
I think it might have been the Championship.
He got champions the season they got relegated, yeah.
Yeah, so he went there, he scored about 4 goals, didn't he, in sort of 15 games or whatever he was there for. And
he got 5 or 6 goals, didn't he?
Yeah, he looks a real handful, didn't he? And definitely, I just don't want to put the player down. I just don't think he's Championship level at the minute, So he's got to go and get some experience in League One. So.
You think as well, with what Bowyer's building there at the minute, I know he's not been there long, Bowyer, but obviously the key is a happy dressing room and everyone getting on, and that works wonders. I mean, not to move away from our club as such, but you see what England have done under Southgate. The one thing he's done is he's built a happy camp. Everyone gets on. If you don't get on, then you're not in the squad, for example. And I think Bowyer's trying to bring that to Blues in the sense of, if you don't fit in with the group of players and you're not all one team, then you're not going to be part of this team. And is it possibly the fact that Leko has got a bit of an attitude problem? Because you've seen him last season arguing with Karanka on the touchline and stuff like that. And then again last night, the strops and the moaning and, the sulking, like you say, at full time. And you just go, what is it? Is it the fans thing? Is it the fact that he has got an attitude problem or what? Bowyer obviously sees stuff behind the scenes that still makes him want to put his faith in him. Or maybe he's just resigned to the fact he's still got him because we haven't replaced almighty Sam Cosgrove. But there's so many question marks about his situation and what's making him underperform from a...
On the plus side, though, we have got, now that Cosgrove has gone, that seemed to be one part of the plan of getting another striker in, hasn't it? And obviously the rumour at the minute is Lyle Taylor, whether that's going to happen or not now. I presume that they'd want to replace him first. And
you said last night as well, is this thing with Taylor is he's not going to be a free transfer, so what's the plan with that?
Yeah, how's that? That's what I want to know. How's that going to work? How is it? Is part of his deal agreeing to come in and fix the stand? I don't know. Does he have a part-time job as a builder?
Who's this? What's this?
Lyle Taylor.
Yeah.
Look, because he's got. I think he's got a couple of years left on his contract. So
I couldn't remember. Did he sign a 2 or a 3 year deal?
I think it might have been 3. But if that is the case, how are we signing him?
I don't know what the situation. Forest, they gambled a bit, didn't they? They spent a lot of money on a couple of signings, didn't they? These Portuguese lads that come in. I think they spent like double figures on one of them.
Yeah,
Figueiredo or something like that. I don't know a lot about their recruitment or Forest, but I presume they're probably at the point at the minute where they've probably got to let go of players as well to sort of balance the book. So I wouldn't be surprised. I would be surprised if they got rid of Taylor, because other than that, who else they got? Graben. Yeah. That's it, really. And he's 35.
Yeah, they've lost Glenn Murray, haven't they?
Yeah.
And I'm sure Graben's either injured or out with COVID. So
I just can't see it happening. We might want him, and I can see that bit being true, but surely they wouldn't let him go for free. I know he hasn't quite been the roaring success at Forest. I think he's only scored a handful of goals there. But he scored Sunday, fresh start. It would feel weird if we got him now, especially because we have not spent a penny transfer fee wise this summer. How much would we spend on Lyle Taylor? Because it can't be a free signing, surely.
Where's the Nisbet money? That's what I want to know. Where's the Nisbet money?
Where's the stadium money?
Yeah.
I mean, I think Lyle Taylor would be a good signing. I'm not going to get, excited by it. But we need a championship level striker. We were saying that last week. We need to bring someone in that plays at championship level. I think Lyle Taylor's a championship level striker. So yeah, that's what we need. Someone that's a bit more mobile than Djukovic, which isn't hard, and someone that's going to challenge Hogan, because Hogan needs, as we know, sometimes he just needs a bit of a kick up the arse, a bit motivating. So I think Lyle Taylor would be a good sign for us. Other than that, I can't think of anyone in the similar mould that would be any good for us, really, that's available. I mean, not that he's available, but,
Yeah, I just can't see with our current situation what we would do in the market.
No,
to be honest.
I don't either. But, I mean, moving away from the striker, obviously there's rumours of Scott Dan returning, 35 years of age. I think, probably we're coming on a one-year contract, I would presume. I think that would be a good signing, even if it's just signing that's sort of, if he's looking at, I don't know whether he's looking at doing coaching afterwards or what have you, but, he's had a good career, and whether, he would stay on and become a defensive coach for us would be, might be good news for the club. But I would like to see Scott down. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I'd quite like it as well, because I think the difference is people look at his age, but he's just stopped playing in the Premier League. So if he's just not quite at that level, means he could do a job in the Championship still, even if it's for 20 games, and some of them games that he might come on last 10 minutes in a 1-0 win to hold on for that experience. I think that, not taking it away from George Friend, because he sounds like a great person to have at the club, but when you're a Championship level player getting older, you're not going to stay as a Championship level player getting older, are you, really? Whereas Scott Dan has been playing in the Premier League, and it's not quite the same as the Villa situation a few years ago, because Scott Dan by no means is John Terry, but he's just someone who can drop down from the Premier League into the Championship, give us valuable experience, because he knows what it takes to play in the Premier League for so long. It'd just be nice seeing back, to be honest, another former cup winner.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, bring him on board. So.
Yeah, I think so, mate.
We ain't got enough centre backs at the club as it is.
I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I like Dean the other night. I know, I'm going to talk about Dean again, because I know you enjoyed talking about Dean.
Love him.
Kieran. But he had a good game. I saw the game the other night, and as did Roberts. But yeah, I think we definitely need to bolster that centre back.
Dean walked past us. Dean walked past us at the game last night, and I told him I love him. He didn't listen to me, but I told him.
And to be fair, if we are going to play that three at the back thing, I know that we have got Sanderson, Friend, and everything, but it would just help a bit more to have a lot. I do think it'd be a solid signing. What's it to lose on a free?
Do you reckon there'd be one going out between now and the end of the season? Because I know it would. If we play three at the back, that does up our numbers to 4 centre backs plus George Friends. That's potentially 5 centre backs plus obviously got the under 23s Gordon the other night. But could we potentially be looking at someone like Pedersen maybe going out the door? I haven't heard any rumours, but obviously there was rumours that he was going to go a year or two ago.
I think I don't know. I know Pedersen's probably the one who people would look at, but I don't think he'd be the one we'd look at letting go if we could avoid it, purely because he does do the left back role if we go to a back four. But
of course,
then you look at the other ones and you think, realistically, is there going to be people who are sniffing around moves for Roberts and Dean? And again, are you going to look at letting them two go? Because obviously we play ugly, disgusting football, so we need Roberts for the long throws.
I'm actually starting to become slightly a bigger fan of Mark Roberts again.
I don't mind Roberts. I don't mind Roberts, to be fair. I know he's a bit, he's not everyone's cup of tea, but
he's a basic defender that sometimes might be clumsy or whatever. But I've genuinely, last season, it was blowing me away, them last few games, I've never seen a first-time cross as good as Mark Roberts.
Yeah, they were phenomenal, weren't they?
Yeah, and his throw-ins are now starting to look a bit more effective. I don't think either of them have done too bad since Bowie came in, Dean or Roberts, but I do think going forward at the minute, with the long throw-ins and everything, Mark Roberts is a bit more effective at the minute.
I do like Mark Roberts. I know lately, I know I criticised him last season. Looking at Kieran's face there. But yeah, I know I was one of his critics last season. You know, he can, like you say, he can be very basic at times. He can let the ball drift over him quite easily at times, and his awareness and his pace can let him down. But he's definitely playing very well at play, and he's playing next to a player in Harley Dean that seems to be enjoying football again. And Harley Dean's enjoying football because Crank has gone. You know, we all knew the situation with that one. He wasn't happy with the situation with the manager. So as soon as he went, Harley Dean started playing well again. And I think it helps when you've got a centre back playing next to you that's playing well, and that's helped Roberts in turn as well. You know, it's funny how football works, but when you've got confident players playing alongside you, it breeds confidence, and that's the situation we're probably seeing with Roberts now. He's probably playing some of the best football he's played maybe in his career. I don't know, but you know, it's been sensational. You know, like I say, back in the last season and this season so far.
I don't want to talk about the Dean situation again, the whole Crank thing, because it did annoy me. It did annoy me how. No, I thought the celebration was funner, right? And it annoyed me that because I've said many a times, which is why I'm not going to go in depth into it. That I thought it's very, very ridiculous, the fact that the captain of our club is basically a petulant child. And I have said before.
Hi, Harley, if you're watching.
Yeah, we love you, mate.
I did tell you I loved you last night, you ignorant.
Ah.
But no, you know, like I said before as well, credit where it's due. He has, you know, he's got his head back in the game. But yeah, bring me in Scott Dan, and I'll go with back four of Roberts and Scott Dan. No, we do need another body in there.
Roger Johnson next year.
And Uranek.
Where he is. Where? Oh, Uranek, yeah.
Didn't Uranek score an absolute rifle in the Russian league a season or two back?
Have you seen it?
Yeah, from about 45 yards.
Dan, have you seen that goal?
It's unbelievable.
Unbelievable, mate. I think it's one of the best long range goals I've ever seen.
Yeah, obviously, he learnt a lot from Craig Gardner while he was there.
Yeah, no.
I remember when we first re-signed Craig Gardner, and everyone said, "Oh, he's become a bit of a free kick specialist in his time at Sunderland and West Brom." And I never seen him beat the wall.
Yeah,
I think he once scored a 30-yarder for West Brom when there was only like one man in the wall.
He had one at Leicester away, I think. He put
That's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if that makes you a free kick specialist now. So obviously,
I mean, to be fair, we've hardly had many.
He's a man of many talents.
Yeah, since Sebastian Larsson now, we've hardly had many free kick takers to pick from ever.
The worrying thing is you look back and you think the best corner taker I can remember us having in many years now is Jordan Much, and I don't think he ever beat the first man, ever. It amazed me that he got a move to Crystal Palace and became their corner kick taker.
Well, I know Craig Gardner always used to be the first man because someone put on Twitter a while back saying that he's brilliant at crossing the ball. He always hits a guy that sits next to me in the stands. But, I mean, yeah, I don't know what else we can talk about tonight, really. Other than, I mean, we haven't really touched on the video from Cheng. Is his name Cheng? Edward Cheng?
We don't need to talk about that video. We don't
is there anything you'd like to add on that, Kieran? Or
there's absolutely nothing to say about that video that we didn't say already. It's pointless putting him in front of the camera. It made no difference. Right, the overall sentiment is still the same. The club has dropped the ball. Right, I don't care what he's got to say. I honestly don't care.
Yeah, an important thing before that video, before this started, was although we're glad that communication is happening, we don't feel like we're ever given the full story still, because that would have been it would have been obvious a long time before. It would have been obvious a long time before that all these stands are not going to be ready in September. So why didn't they just tell us? Why didn't they just tell us? I appreciate the
I just
updates
want-
with the fans and everything.
Just want
But
money,
give
don't
us
they?
the full truth.
Just want the money. That's all it is. They just want
And
to
as
you
buy
said-
tickets.
And as you said before the game, before this started, this video, there was not once we're sorry about this.
Mhm.
It was always like, oh, it came as a shock to us, like they're blaming the people trying to fix it. Well, you employ them. You have employed them, so that is your issue.
The board the owners, whoever it might be behind the scenes, who've dropped the bollock on this. Right, but then to top it all off, they've put him in front of the camera because over the past couple of years, especially under Dongren, we've always complained there's no correspondence from the club apart from when Dongren's either offering fans for a fight in a car park or he's posting ridiculous gifs of a cat running around a living room saying it's busy. Right.
You know what, though?
That's
If
the
I'm
only
right,
correspondence
though,
we get.
If I'm not remembering, though, I don't think it was Dung. Everyone thinks it was Dung that offered him out. I think it was the man who's done the video now, you know.
Well,
I
either
remember
way,
correctly.
what I was about to say, if we put him in front of a camera and he speaks broken English at best, so he's getting grief for the fact that he can't pronounce words right, which is rightly so because it's not his native tongue anyway. So now all he's getting more abuse from fans, namely scumbags from them lot down the road. Which he could do without.
Help him, does it? It doesn't help him.
And obviously, ultimately, like you've just said, there's still no sorry, so the fans don't care either way. So it's all for nothing. It's all been for nothing, this video tonight. It's easy to say, oh, we understand your frustrations. We're frustrated too, it's a surprise, but it pales to your anger and frustration. Well, no, it doesn't. We can all be frustrated about the situation, but you still need to own up to the fact you've botched the job.
It's their job to sort it out. We can't do anything about it. And it don't matter trying to point the finger at the company or whatever that's built. It don't take away the fact that a lot of fans can't go to that game Saturday. So at least apologise for it. I don't want to hear the excuses. Just say, we've messed up. We're really sorry. We're going to try and get it fixed as soon as we can. Because what's going to be the excuse that it's not open for Derby?
All we needed was like an apologetic statement, and almost coming to you with the head in hands, apologising. Oh yeah, we know, like you say, we've messed up here, we've left it too late. Whatever the excuse might be that they use, but
you can accept
ultimately they've just made us a bigger joke to other fan bases because now all they're doing is taking the piss out of the poor bloke who we've sat in front of the camera, and he don't need that. That's not fair. It's not right either. But ultimately, they've done all that for nothing because the video doesn't change anything either. I feel like I said at the start of my little rant just now, is it ultimately we've said we don't get enough correspondence from the club, so they've gone, this is a good idea, we'll post a video speaking directly to the fans, but it just felt off. And it was, there was nothing really heartfelt, or it almost didn't feel like it was meant because, he's obviously, they've spent a lot of time going through exactly what he wants to say. It wasn't just an off-the-cuff speaking from the heart and what he wants to actually say to supporters. They've told him, basically, this is what we're going to say. Just go with the script, basically. It just felt a bit forced and a bit off for me.
I'd have never thought a day would come where season ticket holders would have to hope that their name gets pulled out of a hat to see if they can go to the game. Oh, roll on Saturday for the few of us that can be there.
Yeah, enjoy it in your seat that's not yours.
Yeah, you know what? I was angry at that, but I've just got to be grateful that I can go. To be honest,
at this point, just be pleased you're there.
No, it isn't. That's not even taking it out of the ones that can't go because I'm just as angry for them as it's embarrassing, to be honest. But yeah, it's just you should never be grateful to have a seat that isn't yours. But you're like, well, at least my seats. I don't want to go into it again because it's ruined sort of the optimism I'm feeling about the team on the pitch. I do think it could prove to be a bit of a disadvantage for us while it's closed, but just got to try and try and get as many points as we can.
It's a massive disadvantage. It's a massive disadvantage. We're going to go away to most grounds that are going to be full.
It's bizarre and it's laughable. And like I said to you earlier, we've finally got, good manager. We're feeling positive. Good result in the opening day, and now we're staring at this now. So such a letdown, massive letdown. And I know the owners are not couldn't care less what we say or what we think. They only think
It's money. But if they're ever listening, please do one and don't come back, because we don't want them here. It's just one bad decision after another, and we're just a laughing stock.
We don't ask for much. We just want competence. We just want to know that for once we can be positive on the pitch and we don't have to worry about anything else. But it don't seem like that's going to be the case. So yeah, I was annoyed about my seat situation, and we've just been drawn at home to Fulham in round 2 of the Carabao Cup. So that's another game where we'll have about 20 people there. So yeah, just about hopefully it gets sorted out as quick as possible and we can forget it really happened. But until it does ruin it for me.
So the draw for the Carabao Cup's out, and we've got Fulham at home. Well, it looks of it. A few boys have just, if you've not seen it, just come out. Not that it makes much difference. Might as well play away from home.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I don't want to break the news,
say
check.
that.
Dan did just say that.
Hey?
Dan did just say that.
Oh, did you? Sorry, mate. Completely lost.
You've spent too long in the pub today, drowning your sorrows about this video.
I was
honestly.
sort of trying to go, do I act surprised that we've got Fulham, or do I tell him that I've just spent the last 20 seconds saying
I
about
thought
it?
we can't, because if he does put the effort in to listen to this point in the episode when it comes out, he's going to go, what an idiot. And then he'll probably have a go at us for not telling him.
That's a shame.
I'm not even going to edit it out. I'm not going to bother.
Nah, don't edit it out.
No, I'm not going. I can't be asked.
23rd of August. So that's only two weeks away. Be surprised if we've got anyone in the ground for that as well.
Yeah. Never mind.
Shame it's not away. It's always a good day out for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. We just need to re-sign Viv.
Hey?
Yeah.
Need to bring Solomon Otterball back on board for the Fulham away.
Yeah. Well, or Viv and Pep, because they had that video of of doing that work in them houses, didn't they? When they were doing a bit for the community. Maybe we can get them back in the stands.
In fact, we just thought that actually, obviously, with us re-signing Sarkic. I mean, we could have just got Moha Ramos back off the bus in Birmingham and brought him back to the ground for a few weeks, couldn't we, for a backup keeper? Well, wait for Etheridge to get fit again. I think that's the only contribution he made to the club as well. Talking about being in the community. Did we send him out on the 50-something bus to an absolute...
After that, he was saying, I won't be renewing this loan.
Yeah, you've spent some time in Madrid, mate. Now come and look at how the other half live.
Yeah.
If you look over there, you've got a skip that's full to the brim and a spare mattress just dumped next to a tree.
Good times.
Anyway, end on a positive there then, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if anyone's actually managed to get to this point in the recording, thanks for listening. Subscribe on the YouTube channel.
Hopefully you win in the ballot.
Yeah, hopefully you win a ticket in the ballot so you can sit by Dan. But yeah, until next time, and hopefully a few more wins later, we'll speak to you soon.
Ciao.